not just YouTube, but also TikTok. There we go. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Successful Sundays. I'm, of course, Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there. And today we're just going to piggyback off of this week's the Dope Life podcast episode where I spoke about my career as being a bus operator or bus driver and how it kind of gave me more influence of certain areas of my life versus both personally and professionally. So first things first, let's just start off with three deep breaths. Now I want you to think about anything that is feeling heavy for you this week. I want you to think about anything that you are doing this week and you want to put out the good energy there. All right. So we're going to inhale the good energy in anything you have, a meeting, a test, a presentation, anything at all. And any negative energy that we have that's holding that down, we are just going to exhale it out. All right. So inhale, good energy, sigh it out, negative energy. Two more times. Inhale, good energy, negative energy. Sigh it out. We're going to go one more time. Inhale. Good energy, negative energy. Sigh it out. There we go. So I'm just going to fix this up a bit so you could, boom, see a little bit better. All right. So we're also going to just kick in the affirmation. So I pick these cards randomly every Sunday. And today I picked an affirmation. I immediately said, okay, this is connection to the topic that we're going to get into. I'm going to break down. And the affirmation is I choose to be patient and to trust the process. I choose to be patient. Oop, I didn't realize I was unmuted. My bad. I choose to be patient and trust the process. There we go. Boom. I choose to be patient and trust the process. I liked this affirmation so much that I actually wrote it down right here, just so that if anyone drops into the live, you can also just kind of hold that as well. So let's waste no time. Let's get into it. I want to kind of paint a picture. Let's say, for example, you are driving your car. All of a sudden, you notice that you're being redirected because you made a wrong turn. This happens to all of us, right? When that happens, you don't have Google Maps, you don't have Apple, you don't have Waze telling you and scolding you that you made a mistake. They're just redirecting you into another direction, either to get back on the path or to take a completely different direction to get to where you want to go. The same thing when it comes towards life, we should actually apply the exact same thing. So whenever you're going through something, there's no point of you scolding yourself. It's all about the route. Recalculate, open for help, uncertain, trust your judgment, and eventual arrival. Recalculate, open for help, uncertain, trust your judgment, and eventual arrival. So let's say, for example, you failed a test. You could say, like, I failed, right? Or you could say, I'm recalculating because I got to go back and take this test again. Perhaps it's something that you can go back, or maybe it's something where you could beef up your credit in some other way. The words and the mindset that we use weigh heavy. So if you're not the event that happened at the end of the day, if you say I failed, okay, yeah, you failed the test. Or you could switch the way of thinking it. And I just need to recalculate. Maybe I didn't study enough. Maybe I didn't understand it. Maybe I need to talk to my professor and ask them what areas of the exam or test do you think that I need to focus a little bit more on. It's all about reframing it. So when you think about recalculation, understand that making mistakes, I'm gonna shift my head over here. You make a mistake, you recalculate. That's it. It's okay to acknowledge that you feel a bit down on yourself, but don't sit in it for too long. So stop the self attack. Stop automatically looking towards the I'm a failure, I'm a failure. You're not the event that happened. The event happened. That doesn't describe who you are, right? You're not the event that happened, but you could also change the outcome by trying again. Second thing is you need to assess where you are. All right. So this is all getting back to meeting yourself where you are at. So you made a mistake. Okay. It happened, but you're not the event. Stop the self attack. And now we're getting into the second step, which is assess where you are in that moment and then identify your next turn. Going back to the thought process of when I said you're using Google Maps, Waze, whatever maps, Apple, and you make the wrong turn. These maps are not scolding you. They're redirecting you to get back to on track to where you intended to go. Same thing, identify what your next step is and then make the adjustment and make the turn. Make the adjustment and then proceed, right? And if you get lost again, same steps, recalculate yourself. That's okay. We're human beings. We put so much pressure on ourselves. We give so many people so many grace, so much compassion and kindness. But when it comes towards us, it's so hard. It's a difficult step. But let's normalize making it more of a routine for us to pour more into ourselves, even if we make mistakes. At the end of the day, we are human. We're going to make mistakes. And that's all about life. Let's go to about open to help. Open for help, sorry. Be open to receive help from mentors, maybe colleagues, maybe, unless you trust them, trusted friends, and coaches, perhaps, right? Being open for help was something that I always struggled with. I'm the I could do it all on my own type of person until I realized that I can't. When you have a community surrounding you, you can to a degree. But when you have a community surrounding you, when you have people that are rooting for you, when you have people rooting for you, anyways, when you have people that are cheering you along the way, you have people trying to sometimes redirect you because you're not seeing ahead, but they do, and they generally want to see you succeed. It helps a whole lot, but you have to be open for help. You have to be open for receiving the help. If you're closed off, there was a I could do bad by myself. In a nutshell, you can't. Yeah, you could do bad, but you also can do a lot of good if you actually be open are open for more help. The next one is uncertain. Uncertainty is scary to pretty much a lot of us. Not knowing what is next can be scary, but you don't need the whole map just to get started. Going back to when I started in transit, I didn't know my schedule every day, which is nuts when I tell people that. I did not know it. I would have to call at a specific time in the evening, and then I would get my shift for the next day, which to some people is nuts, but that's just how the system is. And it drove me up the wall because sometimes I was sitting there like, okay, God, like, don't give me an early shift. Don't give me an early shift. I don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Give me something decent so I can sleep a little bit. But that level of uncertainty and having that job taught me that you don't need the whole map to get started. If you're thinking that you can know exactly what your plan is, you won't. One of the greatest tools that you'll ever have in your life to create a plan is pen and paper. I have so many of these damn books. It's insane. This is how you can draw out your map. But your map versus what God, the universe, your ancestors had planned for you, it won't match. But it's going to get you close because now you're hearing, you're open to listening. Kind of going back to open for help. You're open from help from the higher above. You're open to receive that. And it starts with the most simplistic steps by you sitting down, grabbing a pen, and writing out your plans. Seems like it's a lot because you're like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have. You have time. You have so much more time than you could ever think. It's you taking the time because the time is yours at the end of the day. Trust your judgment. Another step that a lot of us have a tough time dealing with. If we have a lot of self doubt and we're having those moments of, nah, I don't trust my judgment. I'm just going to go straight to my mentor and talk to them. Sometimes you got to actually have the conversation with yourself. Majority of the time, you need to have the conversation with yourself before you allow any outsiders to come in. Have the internal conversation with you first because you may not think that you know enough, but you know enough. And to break down the trust the process, kind of wrote over here. Yeah, you can see it. Gather the info. If you made a mistake, because you're getting back on track, if you made the mistake, that's okay. Gather the info from what happened, what occurred, because there's gems, there's seeds, there's points of where you can take that and bring it back in. Trust your judgment. I'm going to put this underneath for green. Trust your judgment. You've done probably so much work that you're not even seeing it. Start trusting your own judgment that you can make it happen. Okay. Three, make the call. There's going to be times in your life where you have to make decisions on your feet. And you may not be able to go through all of these steps, but you have to trust your own judgment. So get to know what that is. Even start to be more confident in that position and adjust if needed. Okay, it doesn't work. Adjust and try again. Adjust and try again. Adjust and try again. Going back to the Google Maps, Apple Maps, Waze, whatever maps you use. If you're making a whole bunch of turns and you realize roadblock, 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 that's same thing in life. If you're realizing they're giving you the wrong directions, okay, great. Now I got to use my own self of judgment to get back in the direction I need to be in, to get back on route. Because let's say, for example, there's a day then your maps are not available. I'm using driving as a metaphor. But let's say one day your maps are not available. What do you do next? What is your next step? Your next step is to trust your own judgment. So, yeah, gather the information, trust your judgment, make the call, adjust if needed. And lastly, eventual arrival. It's all about progress over perfection, right? It's all about progress over perfection. The progress is where the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to make movement, right? The goal is to take your time. And kind of going back to like trusting the process, you you have to make movement in order to you have to make movement in order to actually make any progress. So if you're not even making a movement because you're not trusting your process, you're not trusting the judgment, how are you going to even make any progress, right? So you have to think about progress and perfection. No, I wish I had a red mark. I don't have one right now. But it's always about your progress over perfection. And you're going to make a bunch of mistakes and you're going to want to have to get back on track. It's all about it. There's going to be moments where you can't recalculate, you can't ask for help, but you have to trust your own judgment and then understand that the rival will happen over time, right? So let's go over it super quick again. And if you're new here, hit follow, hit subscribe. I'm here every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I also have the podcast called the Dope Life Podcast that gets released every Tuesday. But yeah, if you want to get back on track using root, recalculate, make mistakes, you recalculate. Open for help. Be open to receive help from mentors, coaches, colleagues, friends, trusted friends. Uncertainty or uncertain. You don't need the whole map to get started. You just need to make movement in order to get to make progress. Trust your judgment. You won't always be right, and that's okay. No one's always going to be right all the time. And eventual arrival, progress over perfection. And also remember the affirmation I said here. I choose to be patient, to trust the process. That's your affirmation for this week. All right. So I hope this helped you out. Remember, root, we calculate, open for help, uncertainty, trust your judgment, eventual arrival. I hope this helps you out whenever you're getting back on track. And again, I will see you this Tuesday for the Dope Life Podcast episode. I have a really, really good one in store for you guys, as always. And I appreciate y'all who rocked into this Sunday. Have a dope and blessed week. Y'all know what to do. Walk with peace, walk with love.